Hello and welcome into Esports U. We're going to be presenting some more ECAC Valorant tonight. I'm super excited to be joined alongside Nerds Corner. Nerds, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm excited and hyped to get into some Valorant action. How are you doing, Vision?
I'm doing great, man. Just ready to catch some good Valorant action today. We have a match, of course, in between Brewton-Parker and Conestoga. So excited to see this one kind of coming out. Both of these teams so far undefeated. I saw you have the whole map breakdown. You got everything going on. So I'm going to let you go ahead and talk a little bit about what we expect out of these teams. The one thing that I do want to mention is Condors have actually played one more match than BPC has. So the round differential disparity is a little bit glaring to me.
I mean, round differentials are one thing, but I still think both these teams have some strong points, especially with the map picks Split, Bind, and Ascent. Three maps that are fairly common, I would say, in the collegiate scene and even in some of the tier 3 scene. We've also seen a lot of it in the kickoff events here with VCT coming up. So I'm personally excited to see if maybe we see some changes up on Ascent. Maybe we see the Viper maybe Phoenix meta, Viper Phoenix, so something that like Loud and some other teams used on Ascent. But to kick it off on Split, Brewtown's pick, I think they've played a couple of those games. So generally speaking, on Split, they have Omen, Sky, Breach, Raze, Cypher. A very strong composition, something that you'd expect on Split.
Yeah, I really like seeing the single controller kind of make its way back to Split as well. We had that while where we were running double dives on Split with both Jet and Raze at the beginning of last season, and that kind of evolved into the double controller with Viper. And then after Fnatic showed that Alpha Year could literally just hold sight the entirety of A, just being Cypher alone, everybody's like, oh, this might actually be a good idea. Really started implementing that in a lot more retake focus onto A, which is a much bigger site than B is. So it makes a lot of sense. We're seeing some Yoru being brought out a lot as well. So we're going to pop into Agent Select to see potentially what we have. I mean, they could just throw us a PRX comp and run 3 duelists. I wouldn't be surprised by that either at this point. I know these teams like to have fun with it, both undefeated. So they're probably going to want to keep those streaks alive though, nerds.
I would say so. Both teams are going to play, I would even say, more to their picks. Some info that I've gathered about both of them is J-Man will consistently play Breach and Sova, that initiator leader. Same thing with Kip, initiator flexing onto Sentinel on specific maps. So I'm happy to see them kind of picking it. And same with the rest of the show. Silly Shadow actually basically plays mostly Omen. With like some Viper picks, but generally Omen, which is very funny as a caster because it's all silly, goofy. It's all fun. On the flip side, Truth being the true duelist, all duelists, Jet, Raze, Reyna. So happy to see both these teams are kind of fitting into their comfort picks and their comfort roles. They're very not only comfortable but also raring to go. They're not like playing around with compositions. They're here to win. Even though they have multiple wins under their belt, they're still here to play things fairly. And I mean, truly also, speaking of truthful.
Yeah, no, the only thing I'm scared of in this matchup is the fact that Silly Shadow is going to use a shrouded step in this match, and I'm going to have to announce that, and that's going to be the biggest tongue tie of all time. The Silly Shadow shrouded step. Jesus.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, can't. Other than that, though, I mean, this is obviously going to be a very good matchup. Like I mentioned, BPC that you see up there has about 12 round differential, playing one less game over CC. However, the Condors coming in with that extra win over the top. Obviously, I'm not going to buy too big into map differential just because sometimes it's not your map pick. You may not be as comfortable. We're going to see an A hit potentially here coming out at the start. And you know what? I feel like most teams really like being mid. So this is going to be interesting. You already see the Cypher and the Omen on the side of the Condors posturing to potentially take this space.
Oh, I love Non just pushing up here. Playing in the Cypher stage. Oh, but gets caught off guard almost immediately after. I love these lurk plays coming out, but unfortunately at the start of this game, it does not work out for them. Skirmish comes forth. Limp is going to beat out Prey. I guess they are being hunted here. Silly Shadow taking out their equal as well. I'm just... if we do get that tongue twister, I'm kind of excited almost to see how we spell it out.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's gonna be a lot of fun, just like this matchup will be. I just want to go ahead and send a reminder that this is BPC's map pick. So obviously starting out on offense on Split isn't the easiest thing to do. couple trades back and forth. Obviously the aggressive play kind of lurking into the cage ended up not working out, but good trades back and forth on A, as well as taking care of the lurk on B, kind of frees up all that space. Everybody knows where this hit is going. It's not going to be much of a surprise whenever the flood retake comes in. You're already going to have the Trailblazer as well going downstairs to clear out that space, and they pretty much know that everybody's on the A site now, nerds.
Yeah, and with this knowledge, they're just playing for this retake. As soon as the spike goes down, we see them activated. CC's just playing together. Silly Shadow, huh? Don't make a goof, don't make a mistake. They double up here. That's the blind coming out. The sun finds onto one. Ooh, immediately traded out though. Tapping is tapping away. Kip low HP, decides to push for it. Isolates the 1v1, but J-Man is gonna get ya from the back. You can't tap your way out of that.
It's going to be a pistol round win coming out for the Condors. I'm excited to see, of course, what we get in that first bonus round, because I know we don't play Valorant on paper, but you shouldn't be losing anti-ecos at this level if both these teams are undefeated. So expect to see all those Spectres. We're going to see Non, of course, with that Guardian, probably not playing in a Cypher cage 2 inches away from the enemies this round. So going to see him probably take a little less aggressive posturing here in round number 2. Just a solid kind of offense right there for CC, though. I really like triple stacking A, just kind of playing out the lurk on B and playing the retake there on a pistol round makes a little bit more sense, just because those close range fights makes sense to kind of use that elevation on Heaven, because it's always easier to tap ahead looking down than trying to hit one when you're looking up.
And I feel like also Heaven control is, oh, some team flashes come out there. Heaven control is so important, not only towards A, but also towards B. Just generally, it is one of the core tenets of Split when you try to maintain that spike plant. I also love BPC here buying up into it. We've seen a lot more teams going for the Sheriffs rather than specifically just full saving, trying to do a lot of damage. And you know, the light shield meta still stays strong here. There's that Heaven control I was talking about, but Silly Shadows, you know, he's gonna send out some shadows of their own.
Dark cover going to be popped out. We're going to get the start of an execute right here. Flash not going to hit much. One coming around. It's actually a great job by Truth to get one, but Prey's going to find 2 of their own entering onto site. Potentially a third here lurking around in the cage. Are they going to be able to find the sky? Fights ensuing. Prey's going to find 3. Can he make it 4? No. Tap from the heavens. 4 tapping going to be able to get one down on the lurk, but now it's a 3v1 once again. It's going to be difficult here for Truth to get out of this one alive, and he will not. It's going to be the anti-eco converted for the Condors.
Yeah, and just Prey popping off with a ghost in hand. That's what you want to see out of your Sentinel, just being able to lock down sites. You know, trading out some weaponry here. They're going to go for their bonus round. And now with more weaponry and the light shields that I was discussing, BPC is going to try to mount themselves a victory. But again, I want to see the Heaven control, which I already see. We see Breach getting ready for that stun. The fault line most likely is going to come out there with a really fast take, and I hope that with that Heaven control they can get that plant down. Oh, we even see a Sky Flash paired up with it. Oh, but Silly Shadow's gonna grab them. Yeah, I was gonna say he TP'd out there.
It's so genius. I love that play so much, and it's an angle that I've appropriately played a couple times as well. It's a really easy way to get an eco frag. BPC here now on their gun round versus the bonus, already down 2 members. This isn't something that you can't win, but you're gonna have to do so much more work just to be able to convert this and potentially hold on to some guns, as Kip just gonna go ahead and burn the guiding light there, see to get that intel, and they are going to acquire it. However, I don't know if they know it's 2 stacked here, so the fallback could be considered. The answer is going to be no. Good job clearing out the bottom. We're going to see little shoulder peek here. At least one is known. Kip is not going to expect Samo in the corner, and that is why that flash was so important, as Cap's going to be able to find 1, make it 2. Maybe a swing back here on the round.
Oh, but they're going to have to get the ace. They're going to have to take all of them down. Still works their way through. They have the spike as well. But just playing these kind of, say, rattier angles is working so well for Concord right now. Speaking of, the Prey becomes the hunter as they take down Caps. And that's going to be the 3rd round picked up by the Concords. And just generally the way that they played that eco was so smart. Limp reading into the play, seeing the Sky Flash, immediately that micro adjustment to TP in. I think they wanted to TP in earlier, actually. I'm going to run it back for what I just said. But generally that kind of like reading into your opponent here is what we expect from this level of play. And they're doing it so well. not only by doing these kind of set plays together, but by readjusting. We don't see Silly Shadow all the way on A, this time playing towards B, kind of being a nuisance on both sides, making sure that not only smokes, but also some silly, fun, goofy plays come out.
A neural theft early here. Gonna be popped, and Truth just decides to turn on the Jets here. Gonna hit that little fake there, but the second one probably gonna pop out knowing that they're facing the other way, looking like a B hit. There's already 3 people stacked here as well. You're gonna have a fault line. You're gonna have so much utility to deal with here in Heaven. Non doesn't even have to peek this. He just has to wait for the breach to make contact, and there's the answer right there. Vault line coming out, not going to find much. We're going to get the paint shells out. This one is blinded all the way up. Non going to be able to get the kill still over Samo, trying to rush out. Good blast pack to get out of dodge here. It's one still Heaven, going for the wall bangs. Going to be able to find it. Silly Shadow picks up 2. That's going to be an easy, flawless round. And it just all bust open. And you know that when you're on that default, that 2-2-1 split, the Cypher is probably going to be lurking the A site because you want to be able to get that mid control and threaten the possibility of a push anywhere. So as soon as that Cypher drops, and then you have the neural theft already ready because Prey popped off with a ghost in round 2 and was able to find another one in round 3, makes your life that much easier.
I feel like that neural theft also just coming out so early in the round gave the Concord so much confidence to just be like, all right, we know what play we're going to be making here. We know that these guys are on an eco. They don't have as much weaponry. They don't have as much money. And this timeout also coming at a great time for them since they're buying up here. How are they going to readjust the economy stacked in CC's favor as well? So all of these things are mounting a lot of pressure onto BPC. It's just applying that anxiety debuff almost. Now, teams can come and rise above it, and this is what I want to see out of BPC. How are they going to temper their mental? They have a neural theft. Maybe they take an early fight, and even if they lose out, they pop the neural theft to give them a lot of information so then they can take a site really easily. Another thing to mention is that their control of Heaven on both sites has been tumultuous. It's been rough for both these, well, more specifically for BPC. For Concords, it's been rough because they can, they fall back from it and then they retake it, but they retake it really well. For BPC, they can't have, they don't, hold it.
Yeah, and speaking of hold it, this is the aggro play that you love to see out of Silly Shadow. Are you going to go ahead and pop that paranoia? That is the answer that we're about to find out. Is Limp definitely heard the steps forward coming into B main. Are you going to get peeked here? Oh my, the perfect timing. They're going to find 1, make it 2. Oh, the coordination, the plays, and the perfect timing coming out for the Condors. Once again, his 4-tapping has to back out of this because he gets spotted by the Trailblazer on the opposite site. And now this is basically a full default. You've already removed 2 on the B site. At least 1 is stacked onto A. And look at the just ratty corners that CC is holding right now. They do not want to give up any of this map control.
Oh, I don't think they expect Kip to be in this angle. Immediately spotted out. Now they know two are there. Tapping taps. Exactly. There's that neural theft. It gives them info, but again, just it's a little late, right? They don't have as much prowess here. Still tapping, living up to their name. Manages to take out Non. They're not getting the bread, it seems here. CC, they have the numbers. Spot out 1. J-Man needing to fall back into screens. They're just getting ready for this retake here. I think the spike is going to stick, but Prey managing to find 1 out of position. Tip taps away. No sprays here as BPC. It's just going to be Prey versus tapping, but pros don't fake. Gets the half. Pushes away, and an ace for tapping. They might have 4 in their name, but they got the 5.
I'm flabbergasted that everybody just kind of swung in. Obviously, that ADS spray was beautiful to be able to pick off the 2. And kind of everything went wrong in that round for BPC. And you talk about the mental strength and the mental fortitude to kind of, come back from that 4-0 deficit, right? It was 4-tapping, literally just showing it off right there because A, you make a mistake by not planting for your Cypher who's trying to hold your Heaven control, right? So he has to come all the way on to site instead of just being able to play the close angle. On top of that, you lose 2 early in B main off a great paranoia play. And so for the Condors, I know you're a little disappointed, but Kip is just going to erase all of that disappointment right there because Seeker's going to be popped. They're already aware that 3 are on A, and now the rotation is going to be on.
All the sprays through the smoke from Kip. Non's gonna find one though. Still, Concords are coming back strong here. Are we gonna see tapping off of a lurk, but misses the shots? Kip's gonna grab them instead, and at this point, the Concords are looking strong. Regal even, in fact, with only 2 players for BPC here. I think they're just gonna have the rough of it, right? Limp and Caps, 2 players. They have a decent amount of, I guess, util. The fault line's gonna come back online, but still, no. I guess it's a caster's curse, and there's the fault line, but not for Caps. The Concords are gonna pick it up with only 1 casualty.
It's a beautiful round on defense right there. It's just really Kip holding down and getting that initial frag, allowing him to get the Seekers, just breaks the round open, because again, you're using an information ultimate to be able to just understand exactly where BPC is going to go. And as soon as that happens, the shutdown just occurs right after that. And I mean, it's a nice little play and counterplay that we're seeing right now, but when you lose to an ace, you're still confident about your chances, right? Because it's like, hey, he hit his shots that round. It's a great time. However, like, we still beat the other 4 players, and if we can just continue to shut down 4 tapping, I think we're going to be fine in the end. Is this going to be a very aggressive early showstopper coming out from Non? Are you going to be able to find the frag? It's going to be a nice trade. 4 tapping is going to be gone, as is Non. So we see so much now with the showstopper. It doesn't get 1 frag. You almost always get traded off of it.
Great flash combination. Flashes them right as they drop. J-Man's able to take down 2. Silly Shadow grabs Limp, and at this point BPC is in a tough spot. We've seen this I would say more or less consistently, where they are left with only 1 player. It's usually Caps voice crack.
Yeah, Cap's doing all right. I mean, it's just so rough being an initiator and being separated from your team like that. I would like to see a little bit more utility usage. As I mean, that was a lineup that was a little bit dangerous. However, it kind of works out in the favor. Silly Shadow is going to be able to get the kill after getting a little bit of wallbang chip damage from the teammate that was standing in front of him. I think the big thing here, though, nerds, and I have to ask you, right? All these early aggressions, and CC is doing a great job of changing the pace. How does BPC get their opportunity here? They have 5 ultimates online. Like, if you're going to flood a site, now is the time. You might as well go ahead, stack the site you want to hit, 5-man it like it's ranked, and just go from there, because you have the Rolling Thunder. You could throw Omen back site. You have Seekers. You have Ape. You have literally the showstopper to open everything up. Like, you have the opportunity here to just take an easy round. I don't know if you commit everything in the kitchen sink at it, though, because then you lose that ultimate advantage moving forward.
It just depends. They can either play really slowly, bait out some aggression, and then have like 3 players there ready for the team fire. So bait out Concord's aggression and then, you know, take advantage of it. Or you can just fully bull rush a site like you were talking about with all the ultimates. Specifically, I would say, you know, like the Rolling Thunder, maybe Seekers or Neural Theft, depending on which one can get popped faster with the Omen TP in. I would save the Raised Rocket and one of the information ultimates for later rounds. Kind of having that combination of utility to net themselves a victory could be very beneficial, not only for their mental, but also for their economy. They can start building off of that. We already see the Seekers coming out towards B, so info has been gained, and this is where the flood's gonna start. There's that ultimate you were talking about.
Yeah, and all they had to do was get everybody on CC postured towards the B site, so this is going to be dangerous. Prey is still alive. He's been fragging out. Also has a Neural Theft of their own, so this is going to reveal a ton. Obviously, Spike going down right now. We're going to get into a 5v4 post plant. BPC falling like flies. Caps is going to be able to find 1. Silly Shadow able to dodge the flash, but not able to keep their life as Caps finds 2. Now at 3v3. Big rocket coming in, but BPC limp over there in the corner. It's a great job, and now J-Man alone has to beat this 1v3. Going to dodge the fault line to start off with, but knows one is heaven. However, you still have to contend with the 2 on site. Gonna get 1 through smoke. Okay, J-Man, I see you. Somebody check that PC. Now you have the opportunity. Here's the fault line coming out. Gonna go ahead and drop. Just gonna use it to potentially get past. This is actually genius right here, but the pre-fire is gonna give away the position, and there is not enough time to defuse here. A great effort by J-Man, but it's unfortunately not gonna pay off, as BPC is gonna be able to take a round, albeit they lose all their guns.
I mean, I will say hats off to J-Man for sticking it out there. They know that they have the economy, right? Concords, they have money to spare here. Silly Shadow's about to max out. They're comfortable with losing this. On the flip side, BPC's not. So J-Man sticking it out in the bombs, like, I just want to do as much damage as possible. And basically what I said kind of came to fruition. I would say use 3 ultimates, keep 2. You keep an information ultimate, and you keep that raise rocket to apply pressure and potentially get that first pick to use the neural theft. BPC played that really well. I would say a bit slow before the flood, but that's only to the benefit of BPC, as it kind of keeps Concord on their toes. There's that ult, and it lands onto Non. The bread gets flattened and squished. I'm just hungry.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. You know, it's kind of hard to flatten already flat bread, but I do love the references. We're going to get a gun recovered here for BPC as well. We're going to get the aftershock just to try to delay this push. Obviously, the neural theft is used, just like you mentioned. It's going to be a quick little rotate of Silly Shadow. Going to decide to go ahead and spam this smoke up. Not going to be able to find anything, though, as I expect this to be refreshed in about 5 seconds just to hold off on site. Truth's actually not going to be cleared here. This might be massive for the opportunity. You have to stay diligent here. However, if you're holding heaven, it's going to be a chance, but Caps is going to be able to shut that down. Here's Samo with a bulldog in hand. Truth is finally going to be able to take down J-Man, who did so much damage last round, and the plant is going to go down. It is a 5v2. Luckily enough, though, CC, they have enough money to be able to push this out. However, I don't know if they're going to be able to have the lives to even get away with 1 kill this round.
At this point, I think it's the thing I was talking about, right? You win 1 round, you start to carry some momentum. I think I was discussing this more during the timeout. It's more mental, right? BPC's a really strong team. They're undefeated. So the fact that it's 6-1, it's not like a coincidence. They're just starting to slowly slip on their micro like plays. Oh, he's gonna find Kip here. No time for analysis now. You just gotta find him real quick. But they're slipping up on small plays, which feels a little bit weird. And now that they've won some rounds, they got 3 up, they're slowly regaining their momentum. That confidence is back. When they swing, they are ready. Their crosshair placement is on point, and they're comfortable. It's that like level of ease that you want to have in your players. But now, on the flip side, the Concords are the ones with the ultimates. They have a Rolling Thunder for the retake, which, I mean, either retake or the stall, realistically. So Silly Shadow's got from the shadows. So Silly Shadow from the shadows. That's not as much of a tongue twister, though.
It's not, but it's going to be difficult to say nonetheless, as we're going to see a little bit more of a mid lurk coming out once again. It was successful for BPC on a moderate eco, right? We did see some rifles last round, but it wasn't an optimal buy by any means. Looking to kind of poke and prod their way. We're seeing what I really like seeing out of CC, even though they've dropped the last couple rounds, is they're staying very diligent for the most part and giving up that early position, right? They're holding out until noise is made and kind of just poking and prodding. They're keeping their map controlled. They're not over rotating, which teams at this level, it's not really a surprise. This is the elite division, of course, of ECAC. I'm excited to see what we're going to find here after the Trailblazer spots out Truth. I don't know if much else is going to be found, as 4-tapping is going to be lurking up the opposite side. This is looking like a hit from heaven. It's going to be difficult to potentially find, though, as 3 members already here, already prepared. Are you going to back off and play the ultimate is the question.
They can. They have that ability to, but with J-Man on site, I feel like that might be rough for them. It might not be the most optimal play here, and instead they're going to fall back here. But with mid contested, something needs to get done. Caps pushes in to site. Truth on the lurk here. I don't think Kip spots them there. Just in case someone's gonna go for the refrag. They send one out. Non is about to slowly push in. They were covering them. Tapping looks away at the worst time, but still, Truth finds Non. No more for you here. 4-tapping onto Silly Shadow here, and the Concords are in pickle. You only have 1 player here. He does have ultimate. J-Man has the ability to, potentially pop it for a win, but the problem is, look, we have Cypher playing off towards the side, making sure, all right, if Truth is going to be on site, I'm going to play off site for that ultimate. Really smart here for BPC to ensure a J-Man cannot net them a victory. J-Man, I think, looking to do some damage, though, onto Truth. Potentially? No, Tapping's just going to find them and ends it off. Another round up here. I feel like avoiding that breach might be a sort of like not the main goal, but a really like important thing to try. Like, okay, we have to play around this ultimate, especially if we know J-Man's alive for the retake.
Not only that, I mean, it could be a round by round win condition as well. J-Man has been popping. He's been using his util extremely effectively. And if you leave a breach as a last alive, it's very hard to go ahead and peek off of your utility, because typically you're throwing it onto angles that can flash the most people and get the most value for your team, right? You're not really playing those solo flashes on the corners, and having to play breach that way makes it a little less optimal when you don't have the stun up as well. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of that back and forth. Rolling Thunder back up on BPC side as well, with Cap starting to kind of pop off. And the real interesting thing here is the economy. It's about even. I mean, we have two people at 5K on the side of BPC. Not too worried about them. But you look at the other side right now, a Bulldog being bought and having 1450 left over. We're going to have some scuffed buys, a couple Bulldogs, you know, probably a couple extra Vandals coming in as well. Maybe one with light armor. Luckily enough, we haven't seen the Outlaw yet to kind of try to kill the light armor easily. But I mean, it might be something that's brought out here relatively soon. I just really interested, and it's been this way with a lot of College of Valorant that I've casted for ECAC this year. It's ebbs and flows in matches. It is teams ripping off large streaks and then the other team just making that micro adjustment and figuring it out. And it's like two boxers that are just throwing haymakers that just want to knock each other out. They do not care about defense. Like, it just in a macro sense, they're like, you know what, give me your best shot, I'm gonna give you mine, we'll see who's standing by the end of it.
And I think that you're correct, right? They're changing up certain things and they're just breaking down blows. We see Concord playing more towards mid and towards the center of the map, potentially playing for retake as they leave sites almost entirely open. We obviously have A for Cypher, so, you know, if a retake comes out, you have some utility on there, but realistically, the rest of the players are out. They're leaving it for free. J-Man's gonna get spotted by Samo. That's gonna be an unfortunate timing there as they lose a crucial piece of their puzzle.
Four tapping? Are you serious? How do you get the lurk there and just live through it? That's what blows my mind. I just four tapping just was literally sitting behind the corner. Nobody checks it. And not only that, BPC literally walked onto site, my man. They walked off for free, and four tapping's just back. What's up? We're lurking. We're killing everybody. There's a 4K for the man with the number in the name. It's going to be 5-6. And literally, like, BPC just slow walked onto site, man. There was no contest. There was nobody watching the entrance. And there's just little mistakes that weren't being made for the Condors at the start of the round are now officially being made right now as BPC is taking full advantage.
I love four tapping. Gets there, jumps out, scampers away. It just immediately comes back. Honestly, true Cypher MVP here with the lurks. I was gonna say BPC's strat here most likely to just like read into the mid control once they kind of flooded onto site. All right, nobody's there, most likely A or mid, but there's that ultimate coming out. Off your feet, get onto the site. They're playing off of it, flashed out of position. Limp takes down Non. The trades are there. Prey with a judge in hand leaves both teams scattered. BPC only down to one player. Limp is going to fall. They can't walk away from this one. And that's a 3-piece for Kip. Immediate aggression from the Concords as well. Not playing super retake heavy, but just kind of stacking a site and getting lucky.
I don't know if I call that lucky though, because that's a smart adaptation, right? We noticed the mid control that they were starting to throw out the last couple of rounds, kind of leaning towards that. And then you throw a Sky directly on A main with a Guardian playing an off angle. That's calculated. That's a direct counter to kind of what we see as we go into the pistol round on a 7-5 half. It's like those little micro adjustments, like I said, that can be made in round to round, makes it seem like just haymakers are being thrown. That one, more of just like a Philly shell defense, a little feint, and then a hard hook coming in because Kip was able to find 3 with a Guardian against full weaponry. And that shouldn't really happen, but they played it well enough, got off and repositioned after the initial push. And I think that's so important to just be able to realize and get the value, what you need out of that Guardian, out of that push. It's not just a one and done angle. I'm going to use a flash. I'm going to get to safety as we see a default coming out for CC on this first round with some heavy mid presence.
Oh. Silly Shadow's going to creep up. Sky is going to fall. I guess that means no flashes here. Picks coming out in Concord's favor. J-Man manages to grab another as well. Oh, Prey hiding in the corner. They're still ratting. they're taking their defensive side tactics, bringing it here onto attack, causing a lot of mayhem, leaving poor J-Man in a 1v4. It's a tough spot. Oh, caps.
It's caps though, you know, it's caps.
Caps.
It's
Caps.
possible. It's possible. He's got a fault line. He's still got a flash. Like, we can make this happen. He's just got to isolate his fights as best as he can. I think the big problem there is, you can see we already have one creeping up, going to take that 1v1. We already have the spam as well in this box, of course, going to be hidden behind. You're going to have to be forced to peek out, and yep, the crossfire is just too strong. You're not going to be able to do much when 3 players are quite literally peeking you and throwing a fault line to slow you down. As CC going to be able to take the pistol round again. Mind you, they also won the first pistol.
And I think it's really, I mean, winning the pistols is extremely important. You get a free round after that. Well, not always, but you get a very strong second round. And the momentum that we saw that CC was able to gain, winning 4 rounds in a row. They dropped one to an ace, but they still kept that momentum. They still pressured really heavily onto BPC. I mean, it's really important to win the pistol, so I'm curious how BPC will play against it. Obviously, they're playing on defense, so potentially playing slower and trying to get picks, picking up weapons. We see a lot of teams rushing out on defense as well in certain cases. We don't see BPC doing this, so they are going to really prioritize their angles here, it seems. As we look on A on the minimap, right? We have 3 players just kind of playing off of each other. Potentially one goes down, then they can get traded out.
Yeah, it's not only 3 now, it's 4, and they might have read a little bit too far into this, as the Omen currently not going to be able to really contest mid space at all, so they're giving this one up for free, looking to potentially play a post plant, and they're crawling, but B is going to be the read, and it is the correct one as well, as BPC set up solo here. Not going to be found, however, is the sky guiding light, so that's going to allow at least the potential here for the breach to gain at least a kill. We're going to see if it happens, as this plant's going to be basically free and the flood retake from mid is going to be occurring, but it's a good job of getting everyone on site as well. It just makes life that much easier for you if you are the Condors.
With a site take, it's just a lull. It's just slowly right now. BPC's trying to, I think, team fight, find a gun here on the exit to initiate their retake as they go all the way to the flank. But they get stopped by the Cypher util. There's no way around it at this point, right? Just get hit, break. This is where the pressure starts to come through. We see util getting dumped on them almost immediately as they fall back. Prey's gonna find caps. And Prey has been getting so many like solid judge picks through and through. Gets a ghost pick. How did I word there? As everyone dies to the bomb for BPC, so they can farm not only the loss bonus, but also the ultimate orbs.
I love that. The big ol' FNS call coming out right there. All right, guys, we're playing professional Valorant now. We're going to die to the spike. We are not going to contest. We do not need to give them free orbs. We are going to sit back and then die. And it's honestly the smart move. I love the idea, though. Just unfortunate that the Cypher had already, you know, set up his utility properly, but they can't expect 3 of us on flank, right? Like, I love those thoughts, because that's the stupid stuff I say to myself in ranked. They can't expect 3 of us to be flanking.
Sorry to interrupt, but there's a outlaw against light shields. We see the legitimate reason for it to come through. Still, Truth is going to take down Non. So BPC has some room to work with here, but they are again. BPC's all light shields, and Concord has a outlaw. They're not going towards A though, unfortunately. So it's going to be used for the retake.
It's not a bad call by any means. I think the big thing here is being on light shields makes the Spectre that much more dangerous, especially when you can hit a little bit of that run and gun. Is Silly Shadow going to go ahead and smoke off the back of the site? We're going to see paint shells coming out as well. Going to tag up Shadow down low here. Is the heal going to come in, at least get him back to 100? Good job with the regrowth of playing close to the vest with each other, and you're seeing BPC just not moving an inch. They're like, all right, so we know where the smokes are. We know they're probably leading B. We don't care. 2 people still on A, still ready for the potential of this push. As Kip's actually going to bait a little bit just to try to see if somebody will peek that out as they go back to B, but still nobody moving. Very calm, very drilled right now from BPC.
The drop to make noise was smart there. Prey's also going to fall. I feel like Prey honestly name changed to Hunter here as they get hunted. Truth is gonna fall. Samoa finds 2 more for BPC. The slow play working out for them. It's J-Man on the hot seat now to potentially net them something. A little bit of a self flash there, but it's all right. Spike is down. J-Man is walking into a trap here. There's multiple players, and when you have like 4 players, all four players surrounding and engulfing you, I don't think it's gonna work out. 9-6 BPC. They're looking like they're starting to pick up some rounds here. You know, they didn't drop 4.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy, but that was a bonus. So I mean, obviously I know the Condors won the bonus on the attack side or on the defense side. So I'm not going to sit here, but no, you don't have to hype them up as a bonus. That's how Valorant's supposed to be played. The chalk won. It's like all 4 1 seeds in March Madness going to the final 4. All right. Can it be boring sometimes? Yes, but is it also what's supposed to happen? Technically, yes. As we get in here, we're going to see Shadow, nice shrouded step coming through, trying to beat out the guiding light. It's not going to happen though. Limp might get caught here. They don't realize that 4 are here until now. That gets shot out early. I think only 1 gunshot was made though. Is Silly Shadow going to be able to find the frag? Some Omen violence to open this up. Now CC might have an entry into sight. 3 people still lurking on B though, might make it a little bit difficult.
That is not a good spot to be in. BPC just taking immediate aggression, trying to outgun Concord, but running into multiple players at the same time. A lurk for prey, give some info. BPC a little bit on the hot foot. Again, you can still hold A with Cypher, but still in this situation, we see multiple kills come out for BPC. On the B site, BPC B site, I guess it's a site for them to win. Great flash, locks onto 3, does not get the 4th. J-Man's gonna get the trade. Breach v Breach, and now J-Man again in a 1vx situation, but it's 1v2, a lot more doable. Just gotta outgun them here, maybe even outmatch, but it's 4 tapping, and we know how much he taps. Tip taps away to victory. That's not a bonus, Visionary. That, the rifle round, they won. BPC carries the momentum, and that's why I like to talk about, like, if you win the bonus, it gives you a strong mental, it gives you motivation here, and that carries time and time.
It certainly can, and I'm glad to see that BPC was able to bring it back. Obviously, the attack side on Split, notoriously a little bit more, or I'm sorry, the defense side on Split a little bit more difficult since they removed kind of the 50-50 angles that really sat on A as well as B. But, you know, it's going to be a nice eco coming up from the Condors here. We're going to see a whole bunch of sheriffs and a Bucky on Non. I love the aggression. We're definitely going to see some double blast pack shenanigans coming up here. And there it is already. Going to get hit with the fault line, though, to slow down the push potentially. Nice little paint shells to go ahead, clear the backside of the site on the initial entrance. Nothing found, and those paint shells in return are going to be excellently placed. Non's going to be dropped down to 100 HP. Flash going to come out just to put some pressure onto mid. And full mid control is gained, but when you only have sheriffs and a Bucky, it's going to be hard to deal with, especially when you're challenging that early. Prey going to go down to Limp.
Great off angle onto Limp as well. Silly Shadow getting spotted out. Truth as a blast pack, making sure to do some damage. Push them away even as well. Not wanting to lose that weapon. BPC is playing it safe time and time. And again, they're on defense, so all they got to do is wait that timer out. 2 players pushed up here. Let's see what they can find. Non's gonna try and take them down. That's the weapon out of their possession. Truth managing to grab 2 as well. Is gonna put BPC in a great spot, but no, a silly mistake. Truth is gonna fall to Silly Shadow.
Nice shots coming out here. We're going to see Limp if they can take any more with them, as J-Man's actually going to be able to find one here, and this is getting dangerously close at this point. It's going to be a 2v3. Silly Shadow able to find another. CC dropping like flies. Is BPC able to take the round? They're able to avert disaster there. J-Man was looking quite dangerous, but luckily enough, BPC is going to find their way through to it. Remember, I just want to mention, nerds, again, this is BPC's map pick, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can hold on here. CC going to be back on rifles. Should be a rifle buy almost full up here for BPC as well.
And I mean, it's the game of tongue twisters. BPC, CC, Condors, and generally speaking, I think, right, it's your map pick. You're playing defense. Defense is slightly better side here, it seems, for BPC. They're more comfortable on it. They're starting to pick up momentum. I believe they can mount a really strong comeback here and just sweep this in their favor, especially because their map pick. We see a nice play here. I feel like the coordination a little bit off. The shots are not for 4 tapping. There's trades immediately coming out. BPC coming out on top. Condors on the back foot. They did get the ultimate off So neural theft gives away information. Kip knows where they are, gets traded out though. And again, when you're trading out back and forth and BPC has numbers, the Concords are probably feeling that anxiety just a little bit, just a touch.
You have the chance to isolate a gunfight here, though, and this is going to be huge for Silly Shadow as long as they don't get double swung. But now it's going to be a flood in towards the site. Are you going to be able, so you spotted it out, you've heard it. There's the breach flash. Oh, but the off-angle truth comes back. I guess they hear just the slightest misstep coming out, and now it's going to be J-Man versus everybody, and we've seen him do it before. I'm not going to put it past the man himself, but we get the showstopper popped as well. We get the flash coming out, and Caps is going to be able to get the frag, and we're tied up 9-9.
That millisecond flash just like very slightly blurring the vision, allowing BPC to win. Such a fun small little play to discuss and nitpick, but just great for BPC on their take. And now BPC, they've won 4 rounds in a row. They've done what their enemies did previously, and with the comeback slowly pushing in here, I'm starting to see the strategy for Concord. Though on the flip side, they have 3 really strong ultimates. Honestly, even investing 2 of those ultimates, the why is my brain bugging out? The Seekers and the Rolling Thunder to really slam a site and flood into it, which seems to be what they're going to do since they have all 5 here, might net them a round win and also build up their economy. There we go. We see the flood start.
The problem is the flood is starting, but the Cypher Camera ruined it, and they get no value out of that Rolling Thunder. They are going to be able to claim the site and potentially get the plant down, but they're not going to find much more than that. As Silly Shadow lurking out here. Backside currently. Limp is going to get spotted out. Plant is going to go down. It's going to be planted for main as well. So nice little positioning there. We're going to see the Seekers popped, and here's the Rolling Thunder. Going to try to make it so difficult to get through, but flashes, blinds, stuns, everything being dumped on site right now. Caps looking to get onto site here. Not able to find the initial shots as it's coming over to the right side. Good flash, but Non's going to be able to take out 2 with the Guardian. CC make it 3 for Non as they try to hold on here. It's going to be Limp in a 1v5. And all it took was that just modium of space for the Condors to be able to swing out and steal that round away.
Okay, so they used the ults, find no value, wasted ult, but the shots weren't wasted, and the space that they made was definitely not wasted as they snatched the round away. I feel like that's the perfect vocabulary, visionary. I was a little stunned there for a second. I was like, oh wow, they used all the ultimates. They get stopped by the Cypher utility. What value are they going to find off of it? And Non just going huge, finding 2 picks there, really strong. For Concord now that they don't have as many ultimates or as much else, they do have weaponry here. It's going to be a matter of creating and maintaining that space, which we immediately see. Even though they don't have as many ultimates, they still have that showstopper to give them space. And there it is, the Silly Shadow Shrouded Strep to get up to Raptors. Whoa.
Difficult one. I do. I mean, I got to give you your props for even trying it at this point, but how much space has been converted is Truth is going to be able to find 1 here, but the trade's going to come back. The double flank going to be shut down for BPC as they're on an eco right now. Not expecting a huge win, but probably wanting to get a few more guns out of this. As Shadow should have this lurk. It's actually going to be 4 tapping here. 1 HP remaining. Still somehow alive. Going to see if they can get the swing. The answer is going to be a chest shot and not a headshot. 55 damage down for Shadow, but ends up winning the round. 11-9 now. The Condors are clawing their way back.
And the adjustment and the change that we had from Concord to just take and maintain their space is just refreshing to watch, right? They take the space really easily. They're really comfortable with it. Off of their ultimates, I mean, more specifically off of Non and J-Man's ult in the previous rounds. But how are they going to do without ultimates? They still have Sky and Breach flashes, and I feel like if they continue this aggression through and through, it might work out for them. But we see a counter here for BPC. BPC's putting 2 players up here. We've seen Limp go huge before. Are they going to do it again? 1 falls. They get flashed and stunned off that angle.
All of that utility nerds for 0 space.
Yeah.
And it's all on the back of the 1 paranoia. You use the Trailblazer in combo, you get 4 people flashed, and you lose every single inch of space you were aiming to gain.
They got Sky. I'll throw them a bone, but
Yeah.
Still, I agree. Like, they didn't net that much space here. Truth is going to spot them out. They know they're mid.
And spotted out, yes, but I mean, is it really going to matter? You're going to have to use your utility smartly, and Silly Shadow has a nice Paranoia lined up for Heaven. The initial swing going to be there. We're going to see the Paranoia potentially dumped here, as well as Caps just flashing everything right now. One's going to turn it, one is not. Caps going to go huge, find two, and now the Flood from the backside going to be able to take the frag down as Prey finds one, getting healed right now, but going to be spotted through the cage, limp right now. Trying to survive this as his teammate rotates. There's one shot. Can you get the second? No. 1v1. 17 seconds left. Still have to get the plant down.
We know tapping. He taps away. Up against Kip here. I think he's going to spot the head out. And the shots come through. A little bit of spray, not a tap, but still taps the one to win it out to get them double digits here for BPC. This is a very close game. I feel like at the start of it, I wouldn't even say it was like super close. It was very one-sided. But the timeouts have been helping both these teams readjust and reassess their capabilities.
Those readjustments have been so vital too, as we see 4 tapping still pretty much carrying the lobby right now at 22 and 12. A little bit more balanced right now on the side of the Condors. Still excited to see kind of what adjustments are going to be made here. We've seen the ultimates being burned. We have 2 on the side of BPC right now on the defensive end. CC close on a couple, but they're going to need to get some players to either go big, or they're going to have to farm orbs to be able to get those real big value ones. You're looking at 3 orbs right now for the Showstopper. You're looking at 6 total for the Rolling Thunder. So the ones that can really earn you a sight pretty much going to be gone, as the mid push is on, and they're just taking the space almost instantly. Is Truth somehow going to avoid the dog? Has a judge here that's going to hit him. They're going to be able to swing this. The answer is no. They're going to wait, as that's a great aftershock to clear out the space. Mid has been fully taken here. You haven't taken down a player yet though.
Oh, J-Man's entry into vents gets cut off there just a little bit, but Non's gonna push in. The combination of the flash is not there. It's a little too late. The judge up close. There's the flash. They get traded out here, but Truth is looking to find some more picks. Maybe even try and pick up a weapon here. And this is where Sky, I mean, I didn't talk about this, but like even with the Sky nerf, still really strong. Heals, flashes, just even the Trailblazer still extremely versatile, especially on a map as windy and turny as Split. Speaking of winds and turns, they turn their attention towards the A site, taking Heaven control, but immediately contested. Tapping from down from the bottom, manages to spot them out. Has the right read, knows Praise is in the smoke, but gets caught off by J-Man. At this point, right, the Concords are slowly picking apart BPC. They have the right reads for BPC. They catch people in smokes, they know where players are, but unfortunately, just the timings have been working in favor of the Concords just a little bit better. Oh, even right there, the trades come out, man.
It's so close right now, but only 4 seconds remaining on the clock as we wind down 10, 9, 8. 4 seconds for the spike plant to go down. Excuse me, is Truth probably going to end up swinging this one. Actually, the fate coming out, but you're going to be able to get the kill. We're notched up at 11s. Overtime is looming, and I really like what BPC was able to do there. It was a hard read. We're going to give up mid. We have the Vanity Judge just sitting up there on top of the box, and B Heaven. We're going to take you down. This is how. It was extremely smart. It was well drilled. It was well executed. And now both teams kind of on scuff buys, just kind of going for whatever they can get at this point as they try to scrape together 13 before OT happens.
I mean, I agree. I feel like OT is going to happen. At this point, either OT or looking at the pattern here, maybe just a 2-round win for one team. And with the rough buy here right now for Condors, just... how are they gonna net it together? I'm like thinking to myself, right, analyzing it a little bit.
I mean, rough buys don't mean anything in Valorant. The Stinger can easily take 1, if not 2, and Non is going to be able to find an entry frag here, as 4 tapping going to be able to trade out Silly Shadow, who's just kind of lurking in the smoke, making another, and that's going to be a massive ult coming out. The Neural Theft going to give away the position of 3 members currently in A main, and they're also going to be spotted going up towards Rafters, trying to challenge that Heaven, going to get smoked up almost instantaneously as 4 tapping is going to find a 3rd, make it a 4th. You know what? Just give this man another ace. He's going to chase it down. Can you find it? The answer is no. J-Man going to shut down the hopes and dreams and cut him off at 4 as the sprays through the smoke coming through. Somehow J-Man's still alive. Not anymore.
Sorry, Samoa I had that moment before it happens. It be like that. The dropped Spectre comes through, and at this point, BPC picking up that round. They've picked up 3 in a row. The economy not favoring the Condors. it's most like it's looking like BPC is gonna win, but Condors might have something up their sleeve with 3 ultimates. I feel like they, you know, they have the ultimates, they find the neural theft, and they immediately after that kind of like flood in with the showstopper and get that space, or pop showstopper and trailblazer off rip. Trailblazer seekers, yeah. There's a showstopper off rip to give them the space. Something that the Condors have done really well is taking that space and not only maintaining it, but also using it to their advantage. Non finds great value out of that, but Caps is there to stunt their growth. They had this space, but they immediately lost it. Kip is doing damage control. So is Silly Shadow. Space made. How are they going to maintain it here? Tapping sprays through. Prey is going to grab them. The Condors looking like they can do it, but Truth is there to show them the way. Now in a 1v1 to lock in that victory. The shots come true. And honestly, in a game, in a tactical shooter where it's about shooting, guns and bullets, they're the truth.
They are the truth. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time. It's going to be Sideshow going with, "It's an FPS game, you melons. You get shot in the head, you die. I do not care about utility." Brewton-Parker doing a good job. Obviously, a 7-5 half isn't terrible on the offensive side of Split. It is a little bit rough, but I do enjoy seeing them being able to bring it back. Close game all the way through, but Brewton-Parker, really, it was just forward tapping, kind of making those moves, being able to really get the value. Really set them apart there on the defensive end as well. It was like he was a one-man wrecking crew. Whenever Conestoga tried to come to the site that Fort Tapping was occupying, it was almost wraps. It was instantly at minimum a 2-for-1 trade, it felt like. And when you're going into that and you don't know where the man is playing, it makes it that much more difficult. So props to BPC for being able to go ahead and pull out their map pick. We are going to have more Valorant. We're going to be heading, of course, to Bind right after this, but I think we need a break after, 24 rounds, and I think you guys need a little bit of a breather as well. So we'll be right back after this break. Hello and welcome back to Esports U. I'm Visionary One. Alongside me has been Nerd's Corner for the first map of this great ECAC matchup in between Brewton-Parker and Conestoga. However, we're going to be heading into map 2 here relatively soon after a banger on split. 24 rounds total. 13-11 was the final scoreline, of course, in favor of the people who chose the map, Brewton-Parker. So we're going over to Bind. This was Conestoga's pick. I'm excited to see what they kind of cook up. We have seen some of the most variation of compositions on Bind recently than probably since Haven was like a very strong meta map.
I personally think that like most teams in collegiate and certain spaces will pick like certain maps that they are the default like good maps. Like you'll ban certain maps, like you'll ban Breeze. I feel like with Haven being out of the map pool and with Fracture and Pearl being out of the map pool, I feel like Bind has moved. Bind and Split almost have felt like they've moved towards that. Ascent is always going to stay as the bread and butter of Valorant, but I feel like I'm happy that we're starting to see these shifts. And with Bind being a more staple map pick for certain teams, it's starting to not only develop and flourish in terms of what people play, but also the play styles. For example, Conestoga, they play Raze, Chamber, Skybrim, and Viper, so double controller comps on that map. On the flip side, I think a very similar comp. Yeah, Viper, Brimstone, Gecko, Raze, and Sky. So generally, like really similar comps, but I like seeing certain variations, right? It seems rather interesting with the chamber buffs. Maybe we'll see some chambers come out. With Prey being an absolutely amazing Cypher, maybe we'll see Cypher come back out.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to me also seeing foretapping on Viper, right? Because Viper's primary role here, and don't get me wrong, foretapping was great on the lurks, but you also saw the offensive gunplay that he brought to the table. I mean, you get him on a Brim, on a Stim Beacon, potentially running in with his team. How much damage could he do there versus the lurking value that he can get? It's surprising to me to see somebody who is so strong at the gunplay in this game kind of take a back seat role for the most part of these first two maps.
I agree with you that it's weird because, I think it's interesting to let certain players with really high mechanical skill play further back so they're in that clutch spot. But I think it's weird because from all my notes, KO, Sova, Cypher, and KJ are the main staple picks. Initiator, Sentinel, more on the Sentinel than on the Initiator, but flexing towards Initiator, flexing towards Controller seems interesting. Out of all the controllers, I think Viper makes sense with the utility. You kind of set it up and you play it similarly to a Sentinel, not the same thing, but very similar to. So it makes sense that you flex to the Viper. But I also agree on your point as well. If you have someone who's really mechanically gifted, why don't you put them onto an agent that can really shine? For example, a duelist, or even if you want to play support, like you mentioned, Brim. You have a lot of utility to work with, and you have the benefit of having utility that lets your mechanical aim and prowess shine through.
We already saw the Stim Beacon on the ground for the Condors, kind of speaking of the devil with the Brimstone. Devil's always in the details, and the devil's also this 3-stack that's currently happening on B long. This is ridiculous. They're trying to bait and switch. You already see the Gecko just holding Dizzy, waiting for somebody to peek. These jump spots coming out from the Raze. Non just being a little bit passive here. The flash is going to confirm as 2 push into Hookah, and now the question is, can you hold this 3-stack? So we're going to see everything popped out at once. This is ridiculous. This Chili Savage is going to be able to find the first. Non going to drop to Truth. It's just trades back and forth. It is typical Valorant chaos as it's now 3v3. Spike not down. Also, Wingman going to go ahead and be burned just to clear out some space here as the rotate is not called just yet.
BPC is also really tagged up here, but Condor has less players, so it's like the balance of players versus health, and it could still be anyone's game here. Bind also really rotates centric because of those TPs. You have a decent amount of players rotating off to different sites, so I like that BPC was holding their ground, and they even sent one player towards A to ensure that if a rotate did come forth, they were prepared for it. Kip meeting up with Silly Shadow. We don't have any tongue twisters here as they're playing Brim instead. Getting together here. Limp takes out Kip. Trades are there and 4 tapping. And again, I feel like that's why you leave 4 tapping alive, to be in that clutch spot to tap those heads.
I mean, it's a great job, but honestly, it was even more dangerous. I mean, Samo was there, right? Sitting there with the Gecko, and you just don't clear out elbow. It was a great play. Unfortunately, not able to land the shots initially, right, to really take advantage of that basically 1v2 there where both players' backs are turned. You're not really able to land those shots. That's fine. He's very smart about it. He doesn't push the issue. He backs off of it, allows his teammates to come in, and now we have them pinched on 3 sides. And it kind of nullifies that downside of the health that you were down, even though you were a player up.
I mean, trades and numbers, or trades in terms of just pushing in with aggression. BPC here. I personally like the Gecko pick over certain picks here for initiators. I mean, playing double initiator on bind, double initiator, double controller, no sentinel is a very tough place to be in, especially if you're on defense, but it works out so well for them. Not so much for Samo, unfortunately, as they get pushed and the team fire comes out, but still strong indeed. Limp's gonna prevent the plant from coming out. J-Man tries to restart it. No, Silly Shadow's just there.
I mean, we're going to see the TPs coming out, coming heavy. One still on site. How much value can the Spectre get is going to be the question in the sky. There in the corner, is it going to be cleared with Price still lurking around? Caps is going to be able to find those 2. Truth finds another, but Shadow is going to be able to pick the gun up and the spike. However, Plant's not going to go down. Bulldog is retrieved, and BPC going to go ahead and win the first 2 on defense.
I mean, that was their buy. It's gonna be the bonus here for the Condors. They have, I mean, they're on defense. I still think that it's interesting to not have Sentinel, but I also kind of like it almost. It feels a bit interesting. The retakes are gonna be really strong for them, and because players rotate, getting that early info would be very beneficial for them. We see 4 tapping not going down just yet. And interestingly enough, I mean, I just realized they gave the ultimate orb, the defuses, to the Gecko. With Gecko being so prevalent, and with Gecko having one of the, I would say, a really strong ultimate for 7 points, I'm liking BPC's chances here against Condors.
They are on a gun disadvantage though, so we're going to see if that comes into effect. And there's the first example of it, of Vandal being able to beat out the Bulldog, as 4 tapping barely able to get away with their life, has to face down a Brim ultimate as well as just about everything else. But Limp's going to be able to find a Sheriff shot here to potentially turn this around. Kip, nice shot right here. We're going to get the mosh pit coming out, but it's going to bounce up. This is actually extremely awkward because it actually lands in a weird position where one's actually going to take some damage. I believe the raise there did take some of that. Yeah, Non's going to be down to about 78 health, but only 2 remaining, holding down this site, not even attempting to move away from it. RCC, they want to guarantee this plant. They want to guarantee the round.
Oh, but there's still some room to be made here. Weaponry found, and so is the pick. Non's gonna go down. Kip takes out Limp, and unfortunately the crossfire strong here. They managed to win out, but with so many 3 casualties, BPC is still, I would say, comfortable here. That was their bonus round. How are they going to do on the rifle? And this situation, no ultimates just yet. Nothing too early to get things started. Instead, it's going to be their strategy. I want to see where this Viper wall goes. Okay, gives them entry into lamps, gives them entry into U-Haul, so they can cut off that entire right side. We see on the flip side BPC trying to counter that by taking shower control early, really getting aggressive off the rip.
Yeah, honestly, I've seen Viper played, and I don't know how many bind matches in between my own personal casting and between VCT matches that I've watched, as we see 2 opening picks just coming out between Truth and Shadow when you, with that aforementioned shower control, 1-for-1 trades coming out. But I don't think I've ever seen that Viper wall in a separate position on this map. It is literally just used for this, to be able to gain that space and then either flood out onto the A site, potentially using one of your flash characters, or just kind of leaving it alone and being able to kind of just set up that plausible deniability that, hey, maybe we're pushing down U-Haul at any waking moment.
And it gets read into, I would say, BPC is just chilling there. They have Brim, making sure that they don't get control of that. Shots line up, but they don't land. Unfortunately, Prey is still there. They're hiding back and forth. Mosh Pit goes out to clear out Cubby. J-Man, who picked up that orb earlier from the lineup, is going to make some space for them onto site. They have a little pocket to play in. Wingman clears it as Prey falls in. And at this point, they've kind of made themselves this little area, right? It's a little chunk of A site with 2 players just waiting on the extremities. They go through the orb to plant towards showers. They can fall back. J-Man slowly peeks out. Limp is going to grab them. Patience is a virtue, and it works out for them. Prey also playing patiently, trying to get 1 and 2. That's the ultimate popped. falling back, not getting greedy. Oh, the spike doesn't get planted. Therefore, it doesn't get stuck. Limp is able to grab 2 there.
I wish you guys could see my face right now because that's not a situation. That's got to be somebody's finger just slipping off the 4 button. I have no idea what that was. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just that's a situation where you have that ulti available. You've already gotten the intel that you're not being swung, and you have your Cypher holding your angle for you, and you just don't plant. It's just an unfortunate circumstance, to be honest with you.
I think we both kind of had the same thought process. My brain just got stunned there almost. I was like, they didn't get the plant, and Kip not planting that really was what allowed, I think, Limp to get that space and win out. VPC is they're just doing so much damage here off the rip. Truth finding one, no, just spams through. There we go, finds one. Call it a caster blessing as Samo is going to clean up the show. Silly Shadow is gonna fall back to the shadows, but look at that lurk. J-Man picks up one, but not quick enough to get the Phantom out. They're going to fall instead themselves. And a quick round there. BPC just dismantling the eco bit by bit.
I mean, it's what you have to do, right? I mean, 7 players get sent to the Shadow Realm that round, but it's all 5 of CCs, so you don't feel bad about that. Anti-eco played pretty well, read well, good utility usage as well to clear out showers, knowing that might be some area that they're fighting for. Especially because to be able to gain that control right into U-Haul, you don't really have to burn a ton of utility. You use the Viper Wall, that regenerates, you get that back for free. You use the Paint Shells, you get those back for free next round. So you don't have to burn a lot of economy to be able to take that area, so it makes sense. But Truth here on the Operator, gonna get one, gonna get the heck out of space. They might go for a repeat here, but they saw both satchels available just to make life that much easier to get away.
And that wall that we were talking about previously keeps a player for BPC there. So it draws at least one at all times. I mean, generally you want U-Haul control here on defense still. You want to maintain that. But a lot of times teams will leave that in favor of taking showers control early, like we saw from BPC. So that wall is a great adaptation for CC. But what's not great is that they lost one of their entries. They don't have as much space. Samo getting out of there, not wanting to be caught off guard, but gets caught in between a molly and a mosh pit to die to prey. That's rough.
Good job right here by Truth, going ahead and using that showstopper. Going to be traded out though, and I swear Molly in a mosh pit is a Limp Bizkit song. Like I have no idea, but you just unironically came up with the best new metal song of all time. Silly Shadow here on the lurk. 1v3, you're gonna have to try to isolate these gunfights. Smoke gonna be burned onto showers. Anybody actually looking at this? One's gonna TP out. This might actually be a great opportunity for Shadow. Caps isn't looking either. This space has been freed up, and U-Haul gets a frag on one that's unsuspecting, but only 13 seconds remain. You know one's gonna be coming on the flank quickly. Do you check Heaven? You're not able to win the gunfight. Caps closes it out. BPC up to 5.
BPC, they're trying to win things out here. It seems like even more so that they're taking an early lead. Now, we saw this happen last time with an early lead, and it's not the exact same scoreline as, I mean, not the exact same round like spread, but it's really similar in terms of the score line. 5-1, 6-1. It seems really similar to how BPC started off on split. So I guess they're kind of yoinking the script, rewriting, grab the expo marker. It's like, yeah, we're gonna put BPC instead of CC here. They seem to be doing a really good job though, nonetheless, with their space, making sure that they're not letting CC take anything away from them, especially by pushing off against them. They're also not like playing, they're not overly analyzed. They're not changing their strategy too much. They're just playing good defense. They're not overextending outwards. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. They're just doing this great stuff that we love to see.
Yep. Non gonna go ahead and burn that showstopper. Gonna get traded out almost instantly. We're gonna see one rotate out of dodge after long control is gained, but you haven't gotten much more. CT going to be denied right now. Plant is going to be dropped for CC, so this is already an improvement, as that's a great lineup for Dizzy to come out. And now you have Thrash coming in. It's going to be stopped down as Kip is going to be traded off of that. Non can't land the shots, and now once again it's Silly Shadow. Only one left. It does have the orbital strike available, but it's going to be very difficult. There is one, however. Gun's still out. Are you going to be able to read the second is the question. Oh, the crouch swing going to be difficult to hit shots with. And unfortunately, the Sheriff only has 6 bullets. Going to allow Truth to get that one. BPC going to go to 6. And I just want to drop a little nugget of truth on you here, nerds. BPC recently has actually taken a map off of Blinn, which if you don't know was 1 match away from qualifying for challengers, right? Like for being the first. 1 match away. They also defeated Winthrop, who did qualify for challengers.
No, I know that fact.
Yeah, so BPC has been a force to be reckoned with, and it's just amazing that the battle of these 2 titans who are currently undefeated, of course, in this division for ECAC, we get blessed to see it tonight.
I was thinking of like talking about, okay, what is CC gonna do here, but dropping kind of like the bombshell that is they beat Winthrop. I came back, I think, for the end of it. I remember hearing some of the producers talking about it, but that is such an impactful thing to just mention for BPC. Another thing that I think is really impactful is that they're gonna change up their strategy here. They've been playing really good on defense. CC, now they're going to try and probably be really aggressive. They have ultimates that can support that. The post plant for them is really strong. The Viper's Pit, as well as the Orbital Strike to clear out space. They have information to be gained here, and they have weaponry to do so. I'm thinking maybe a rush onto a specific site. Yeah, I mean, I feels like they're rushing through a short. It seems they have one Sky playing off to the side, but the rest of the team is just going to be playing together. 4 players down short. They even ping it, so the lineup and the execute comes through.
The operator here, though, is an adaptation that I don't think is expected. However, you get the early pick on a Truth, trying to get the early rotate, and now you're spotted. Non has already taken that space to be able to cover Shower. And Non, buddy, your gun is working. You just got to move it to counter the spray. This is a very powerful position to be in, however, in this post plant here. And J-Man going to pick up that operator that the Gecko dropped, and don't let it hit you where the good Lord splits you. That is going to be wraps and a flawless round here for CC. That is a great adaptation and a great job dealing with the Gecko on the op on A Shower, which I think is something that wasn't really expected by CC, but they're able to handle it off of that initial pick and of course that neural theft coming through.
And I think I just props to CC for doing it, right? They executed really aggressively. We saw this previously where CC, once they've made a lot of space, they are really good at maintaining their crossfires. They almost I don't know exactly what the stat is, but it feels more likely than not that they win that post plant off. Oh, Dizzy comes through, blinds 1. They peek together, playing from the hero rifle, picking up weaponry. I don't think they expected Non there, but you never expect it. Still, Caps is going to capitalize off of it. BPC not wanting to let anything up. They played really aggressively there and really strong on that eco. J-Man getting spotted, Limp taking them down. I honestly thought Caps was going to do it instead. Limp, Kimp. This is the last player standing here. Flash in hand is going to peek it, and they fall. Caps is going to take out their equal.
It's such a good eco play, and again, it only takes 2 individuals. It takes a Dizzy and a Sky to completely dismantle the push from CC right there. They had gun advantage. They had every advantage in the world. They had the Cypher Cage down to go ahead and protect from an early push. However, Dizzy goes over the top, blinds 3, you get the guns out of it, and then after that, everything just collapses. EPC doing great jobs, really showing strong adaptations. Every single round, it seems like they have an answer for what CC has cooked up.
Yeah, and the way CC played that earlier, they played off of their ultimates, they got the space, but they weren't able to kind of replicate that in terms of ultimates. They did have the aggression, they really pushed for it and were unapologetic about it, but CC's adaptations have been so, I think I would say, a bit slower than BPC's. Like, look at this. We see the flank coming out. They don't expect 3 of us there. Kip expects 1. There's still 2 more there. Caps holding things off. BPC's in a tough spot here. Non was able to find 2, so unfortunately that 3-stack flank does not work out. Tapping taps, but when you're in a 1v4, try to get 4 taps, doesn't work out. Even though it's in the name, didn't work out in that situation.
That whole round hinges on Non getting 2 in hookah. Unfortunately, I saw it on the minimap, wasn't able to see it in game. Immense value out of just a position that's always played, right? I mean, the top of the box in hookah is always where you expect somebody just the timing of the utility was able to bring them out, get some people unsuspecting, and Non able to capitalize on that. And I think one thing that I want to highlight, and anybody who's like me or anybody else who's played lower rated Valorant and has been frustrated by your duelist not entering, Non is 7-9, but it doesn't matter because he's making so much space for his team in the rounds that they do win. It's just massive, and that's how a duelist is supposed to be played. And that right there is also how it's supposed to be played. Great flick shot onto onto four tapping with a judge, not a gun that we've seen a lot out of him. Trying to just kind of come out of there and get a cheeky one, but Limp has literally been in this spot the entire match, and somehow Prey still falls to it.
Yeah, they've been consistently postured up there, so it's interesting to see how they managed to grab 3. BPC has the advantage here in terms of numbers. Caps is gonna just hide in a corner. Kip with a, unfortunately, with a op is gonna be tough. I think they pick up a rifle instead. Get pushed. Kip trying to push away, but nope, it's Limp with a 4-piece. They've been playing there so consistently that it's almost I wouldn't even say it's a guarantee, but it's very probable. Like, you should be clearing that.
I think the hardest part is there was so much calculated chaos going around showers that your attention gets drawn, and you have that momentary lapse of judgment, right? To be like, hey, we haven't cleared out U-Haul yet. That's just one of the things. And those are just the little minute details that actually make giant differences in rounds.
Micro decisions lead to macro plays.
Last round of the half, though. We're going to see that aggression early. Oh my. Okay, yeah, we're going to remove Limp. We're going to get that U-Haul control, but also Operator coming out for Truth going to be able to get the trade back. However, Flood onto site has been successful. Unfortunately, as we see Thrash actually get one there. Oh my, J-Man. 3 are here, 3 teleported early. This is ridiculous right now. The posturing for both teams.
Oh, and I don't think they expect J-Man here, but unfortunately he's only able to grab 1 before they fall. 4 tapping has started to heat up the cook, and he's a chef in the kitchen, it seems. 9-3 on the half. BPC is able to win out, and this is Condor's map pick, so I feel like they have some comebacks here. It's the funny number.
Yeah, it's a little curse coming out, you know.
My gosh.
It's no big deal. 9-3 curse.
Me and TTL had a very long another amazing commentator. You'll most likely see them here on esports, on ECAC esports, right? Me and him kind of talked about the 9-3 curse and how it's like a lot of it's like mental, I think, for teams, right? It's once you get the momentum, obviously there's economy and money and stats and whatnot involved, but that plus mental, it's just so strong. So if you win the pistol here, if Condors can win the pistol and win the bonus, that's 2 rounds up. They're gonna be 5-9. That's gonna be not only an ego boost, but also just the economy is gonna be in their favor. Everything's coming up Concord. It's Condors.
It's going to be huge, and I mean the crossfire is going to be found out by BPC once again, so it's just a good job of just clearing the angles and playing solid fundamental Valorant, right? You didn't get over aggressive, you waited out the flash, and then you went ahead and swung through, and now it's just the flood onto the B site, which, I mean, J-Man going to be able to find 1 through the teleporter, but it's still a 4v2. Everybody's dropping like flies. You got to check one corner, you can't check them both simultaneously, and that is just rude. A little bit of BM coming out with the jumping frenzy shots. Also want to hit you with this as well, nerds. I don't know if you knew it, but B site on bind is statistically the hardest site to retake in Valorant. So if a plant goes down, yes, it is quite literally the hardest site to retake. And that is not just professional play. That's not collegiate play. That is amongst all ranks in Valorant. So if you get the plant down on B site, it is very hard to posture yourself in a position to retake that and be successful.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, just looking at the way the map is designed, I mean, you can go through elbow, but it also has its challenges because both teams could go through elbow, obviously, right? So I can see how it is. I know that they changed it by adding in some hidey holes to throw utility, but it still makes it rough. Non is going to open things up, though, for CC. They managed to find some space here on defense. They get aggressive. It's interesting. They lost, but they buy up, obviously. 10-3. They're going to decide to buy up and see if they can do some damage.
Yeah, I mean, just removing the guns is the main objective here, right? Truth right here with that Spectre got nerfed ages ago. It's a little bit difficult to go ahead and really press out at those long ranges. So, hey, you got a classic, get a shoulder peek, get some intel, back off. But we're going to get the plant down on the B site again and again, especially being at a gun disadvantage. It's going to be extremely hard to retake, especially with a Viper, especially with the Brimstone Molly being there. You got lineups for days. You can basically just stall it all the time in the world. Not to mention also a mosh pit. So this is kind of a super ratty lineup as we're going to get one pick. That's a great job right there. And hey, the right click doesn't hit every time, unfortunately. Silly Shadow going to be able to get one as Non going to come from the flank. We're going to see if they're going to be able to get some more damage done. It looks like most of this is going to be wraps as 4tapping going to be able to find the head once again. 11-3. The bonus round is converted. The Bulldogs are saved, so you have a decent buy coming into this round as well.
Yeah, they have 3 rifles for BPC, and they can also buy up here as well. We see some light shields coming out as we had some buys in the previous round for CC, but with this is the very important round, right? It's the buy up here for CC. They win this, they can get the 4th, start to slowly work their way back in, but the elephant in the room is that Thrash, or more likely the reptile in the room is the Thrash, and how Samo is going to use it.
Off the rip, go ahead and clear out Hookah. We're going B. It's literally that simple, and this is something we saw PRX literally dismantle NRG with back in the day during last year. I believe it was during Champions. Just absolutely wrecked them on this site. Continue to get the plant down, and again, super hard to retake, as that's going to be a good Trailblazer to at least clear up a little space. Just playing inside and out, but that Bulldog finding value with 1. Here's the retrade. Not going to happen. Kip takes out 2. So we try to get here, but Thrash gonna do his job after he gets reclaimed. Samo's gonna be able to find it. Now 2v3 as this post plant starts collapsing on itself. Samo gonna make it a 2v2. Trades coming out, and unfortunately 4tapping not able to land the ADS Bulldog shots. CC gonna be successful in the hardest task in all of Valorant.
And they managed to succeed to keep them away, ward off match point as they pick up their round. They did have better weaponry, so that is one thing of note, but I also think that the strategy was really strong, pushing in off the extremities and playing together. Once they got the numbers, unfortunately, Samo managed to get some numbers in their favor, but once CC managed to pick up the numbers in the later half of that chaotic round, they managed to win out. Now at this point, the light shield meta strong. We see light shields and full buys for BPC looking to hit that match point and to lock it in for them.
Look at this aggression though. Are you going to be able to catch it? Oh my, the check. Oh, the micro flick back. Now you're in danger zone. However, you do get a second, so that is a very positive trade coming out as CC has to kind of scatter off of this. Good job of just using the utility. Great one way here, as well as J-Man's going to find another pick, and BPC's initial aggression and buy decimated down 4v2.
Oh, and CC is comfortable here. They know where the last 2 players are. Prey is just going to be the one hunting. Catches the 1. I don't think he knows where Samo is, but still in a 1v4, they're going to need to find these picks. Information gained for both sides as Dizzy comes through. He's gonna have to clear the corner. Does just that. It's a lot more winnable, but thankfully the double peek comes out and CC by themselves. One more round here. I mean, round after round, right? Even if though it's not match point, they still have to go on a long win streak here.
Yeah, I mean, you have to start ripping it off, and everything is a fake comeback until you hit 8. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. All right, it's a fake comeback until you hit 8. However, being able to have all of this gun advantage in your favor right now, definitely not going to hurt. 5 sheriffs coming out on the side of BPC, having to save up. Looking at the economy right now, the only person that's going to be on light shields is probably going to be Limp next round, as well as Truth potentially, as they decide to buy a little bit of armor with that sheriff as well. So it's going to be CC looking to take another round here. On paper, they should, as this is a heavy lurk towards the A site.
Oh, and again, I think it's the same wall, right? They're trying to contest this space here. Non reads into it, catches 1. Still the trade is there, hiding in the corner. J-Man doing a lot of damage here as BPC's down to just 1 player. Silly Shadow finds the 2. And you said it's not a real comeback until they hit 8. They're 2 away from it. They're close. It's starting to get there.
we can talk about it when we get there. We can talk about it when we get there. You know, I gotta keep us grounded here a little bit. As you mentioned that wall, I swear to God, that's the only Viper wall ever used on the offensive end of Bind. It is literally just that wall, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's very useful. Wall. It's a great wall. As we see we see a very aggressive A wall coming out from the Viper on the other side, right? You're using this to basically cut off sight in half and either really focus those fights. However, it doesn't really matter when the entire other team is postured towards the opposite side, and they've done a phenomenal job as well of just opening this up. That's a crazy lineup, but we're going to see Thrash coming out once again. Already have the value out of it, is you're going to go ahead and just try to push through this. You can't find the value though. Kip there. Brimstone has the backup. Here's another one. The showstopper going to be used. Kip going to find a little bit of value here for CC. There's the flash. Are you going to be able to get the kill? The answer is yes. Kip with 3. Going to get traded off. This is just chaos. Non going to get traded out now. 1v1 BPC. Caps hurt versus the Viper. Plant already down as well. Here's the opportunity. Not going to burn the pit is J-Man. Kind of curious as it's just one shot away. However, the wallbang is going to come through. It's going to be Caps putting BPC onto 12. Or I'm sorry, CC onto 7. What am I talking about? I'm losing my mind.
Honestly, could have gone either way. So yeah, I mean, at that moment, right, the 1v1 just playing off each other. J-Man gets it through just a little bit of info and a little bit of spam. You always try and spam those angles, spam your smoke, spam those walls, see what you can get. But just the chaos, it could have gone either way. We saw a lot from CC. I just love the judge plays in hookah, trap play to kind of keep them there, and then immediate counter with a showstopper. Absolute fireworks, I would say, coming out for both these teams. But 7 is found, 8 not secured, and CC has some stuff cooking. They do have a Viper's Pit here to slow players down if they can get it. We see lineups instead for J-Man, and I like this wall. It threatens control of showers. It's a very oppressive wall to ensure that BPC has to take that really slowly and clear everything out.
Wingman going to be dropped, and that was kind of an awkward plant spot. They were looking to plant middle of sight, I'm assuming, for the Viper's Pit, but now they're going to use the pit for cover. This Silly Shadow just kind of lurking up, trying to find one. Is going to find one. Are you going to find more? Right now, the answer is no, as Samo is able to trade out non-CC. We're going to go ahead and retake this. Obviously, always hard. You use the counter Viper's ult here just to get a pit on pit and cause everybody that's playing inside it decay. It's one of those hard questions that are going to be answered throughout the round. Is Limp going to find J-Man?
Oh... Hip does find Samo. Tapping is there. They have their ultimate v ultimate space found. Kip grabs tapping as the defuse comes through. Oh man, little game I like to play. I'm gonna say 4 seconds on the clock before I get 5, really close there. But BPC is starting to feel the pressure here as the comeback. Maybe I'm just a pure soul because I'm like, I believe in them. I believe in the Condors, and they managed to do it. And I think this is the perfect time for a timeout, especially.
Oh, I feel like this timeout should have been called 2 rounds ago, but you know what? I'm not a coach. I'm literally just sitting in a chair talking about the game, so don't listen to me. But you start kind of losing that momentum, right? And I would much rather do it maybe on an eco round so you can hard plan your buy round up on the attack for the next one, just so you have a little bit more time to talk about it, because you can talk about that through the whole eco round, right? Like, we're just 5-manning, we're going to try to get some frags and see what happens. It gives you just a little bit more time. Now you're coming into it, you're buying on the eco here. You lose this one, it all of a sudden has the potential to snowball into 11-10. And I'm not surprised by that because of how close the last map was, especially with this being the Condors pick. It's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, you got to cut that momentum. You just got to ice the kicker. Like, you just got to give them some time to think about how well they're doing.
Ice the kicker. BPC, they have multiple rounds up. They're currently on eco. We see tapping, forcing up. We see some other players debating on a force up. They're doing kind of what you said for the eco. They're going to talk about it. I think it's fine in terms of the timeout space, but I also agree that it could have been done earlier because they have a lot more pressure that they can put if they win that round. They just need 2 more rounds and they secure themselves victory. 2-0, clean sweep. They keep their squeaky clean record here. That's what they want. That's what they kind of need to get towards. It's a matter of playing that third map. And will BPC fumble or will they win out? With tapping down, that's the Guardian out of play. I don't think it's going to be as winnable for BPC.
It's at least in a position to be picked up. Is Non going to go ahead and swing? Hey, you take 2 bullets, you still live. You love to see that. It's just rough right now for BPC. Obviously, you're on an eco. You're not expecting to necessarily win the round, but you want to get some economic damage done. And we haven't really seen anything other than some solo peaks to try to make that happen. And it's just difficult. I'd like to see them be a little bit more aggressive here, try to play as a team and just kind of find a couple just to start to kind of whittle away at the economy of CC. It's not going to happen here, though. We're going to play this one low and slow for the rest of the time. It's like smoking a brisket. We're going to be waiting a while for some contact.
Man, first we're talking about Non, then brisket. It's all about the food. Be hungry here as the prey gets hungry for some picks. Samo gonna get sandwiched. Truth is just hiding there. Gives away their position. Jump peak is there. So just a lot of information gained here for prey. And with only 2 players left for BPC, they're kind of just playing it slow, seeing if they can find any picks. But CC's not gonna let up that easily. They do lose 1. But still, it's rough. The swing there from Truth, though, with the satchel, trying to get the plant off for the money. J-Man's going to stop them, make sure that they don't do that. Only losing 2 here for CC and threatening that double digits.
I mean, you have max loss bonus, right? So you buy up here. You do have 2 people on light shields. You have the ability for Caps to buy somebody else next round if it's necessary. So we're not completely worried just yet, but I think all that planning really went into this round here. I expect to see the major adaptation coming out from BPC right here. They had a lot of success early on, you know, just hard pushing B and sticking it out. We've kind of seen the adjustment now, but still only 2 people here, both looking towards long. So you have the opportunity to take the space. Are you going to be successful? And are you going to know that the Cypher's already going to be wrapping around you with all the utility and hookah again to make you think that he's there currently? And the answer is yes. Samo is just sitting there waiting for Prey to be aggressive.
I like this. They threaten the U-Haul take with the wall. They have a player holding for the wrap, and the site take comes out. They have Wingman potentially to get the plant, as well as a Thrash to get them in here. They've really talked about this. Samo's going to send that little dude out. He's so cute, but there's nothing cute about it here as BPC's looking for their 12th point. We see tapping, ratting around in the teleporter, making sure no one rotates in. There's Thrash coming out yet again. Timer gets burned though. Information spotted, doesn't get stunned, but they still know. Trades 1 for 1. Truth falling back, Kip aggressing, making sure to push Truth away here. But Truth is quicker to the draw, finds 3. And locks in match point for BPC.
It's exactly what they needed. The timeout comes in, they come up with a coordinated plan, and the ability for Samo just to be patient, be like, Prey's probably going to lurk here. He's probably going to try to take early space, and we're just going to watch it and see what happens. It is chef's kiss right there, because that's an adaptation we haven't really seen from CC on the defensive end. They haven't really been aggressive in taking a ton of space, right? Especially on the Sentinel side. They've flanked a couple times later in the rounds, but they haven't really done anything too crazy. And the one time that it happens, BPC has the plan.
Oh, this is interesting. The threat of the wall is so strong. They decide to invest their ultimates. Trades going in favor of CC right now as BPC is in a predicament. 2 players already down. You don't have smokes or an entry. What are you gonna do? You see a couple of the players pushing in through the smoke also.
You got to try, right? At this point, like, you're on match point. You're not going to give up that easily. You do have created a little bit of space onto A, right? You've shut out the Cypher tripwire. Plausible deniability is there for you. You could technically get the plant too. Everybody currently playing in the pit. So you have the ability to go ahead and take site. They have regrouped together. You might get a plant towards the backside and maybe a take a heaven here. It might be the play. However, that read would be darn near impossible without wall hacks. So we're going to see if that's what they decide to go ahead and take, with everybody just lopped up here on A short.
I think that what you said is going to come true. Samo's getting ready to go for the plant. We see players going in through heaven. They're clearing out CT. Potentially drawing more players out. Sam's just gonna get the plant there instead. They're playing in the pit. They go for the molly to stop the plant, but they're not planting towards box. They're gonna be playing towards CT, not even towards heaven. we see them really spread out here for the post plant, as CC is playing it patiently, regrouping all 4 onto A short before they flood out onto this retake. We already see the start of it as Cypher is taking space towards U-Haul. Samo, they picked up Wingman, is going to send it out, make sure that they stop. Catches one, gets caught by his own Wingman. Dizzy's out to slow them. Tapping's playing towards Showers piece by piece. They even planted for him. That's the Molly. Do they have the time? They do. Sticks it through, gets them in the 10th round here. CC lives to fight another day with 0.65 seconds.
That was dangerously close. And 4-tapping being able to get 2 on just a random spray through the smoke is absolutely wild, but I wouldn't expect anything less from the man, the myth, the legend himself. So it's just a crazy round right there, and BPC makes a perfect read. They're just down a man. That's literally all it is. Offense became defense as CC fought to retake the A site from the attackers. Not something I really say too often, but literally planted on the back of site in heaven. It basically just in the trees. They're able to go ahead and win out the guerrilla warfare battle there as Caps and all this pressure coordinated towards the A site. We're actually only going to have 2 here. It's going to be the Cypher and the Rays going to be the only ones to hold off this potential 5-man.
I think honestly your read was really close as well for them planting further back and playing towards heaven, playing towards CT. It worked out for them. And at this point, CC, I mean, they just won out really well by their strategy of flooding out and playing conservatively. So both teams are firing on all cylinders. Space created here as well. Oh.
It was just the right play. You know, it is what it is. They made the right call. Unfortunately, just didn't have the numbers, as we're going to see BPC kind of defaulting this one back. Lemp's going to find one, get a gun upgrade here now with 4v4. Opportunity for this round to potentially be a swing round into a closeout with even always favoring the attackers.
Oh, they're just both chilling, right? It's very close here, and BPC just needs this one more round. They win it, and they're done. They go towards B, the site that you were talking about statistically is one of the harder sites to just simply retake. Is that
showstopper being used, but are you going to be able to find anything off of it? The answer is yes. You get a little chip damage coming out. Kip is going to be here on site. Nice flash going to come out. Guiding light going to be able to find Kip, but not well enough as we get the spam coming through. Kip with the wrap going to be able to find one. Prey finds another, and now it's a 3v1, and this round is just falling up to pieces essentially. Cap's not able to close it out, and now it's 12-11, and we're basically in the same exact spot we were last game.
It was so close here, but the story, I mean, it's the same spot, but the story has been, I would say, different. BPC was on the up and up. They lost many rounds though. In the previous game, the half was a lot closer. Both teams were, I would say, even more neck and neck. But at this point, BPC, that's 6 rounds, sorry, doing the math, double checking, crossing my T's, dotting my numbers, and making sure that I'm counting it correctly. But that's 6 rounds in a row that they lost. They pick one up, and now they've lost 2 more here. They are on and fractured by here. And it's just not coming together for BPC. I think that they might just have to go into overtime here.
Well, I mean, the good news is you don't lose any econ by losing this round, right? So you're going to go all the way out. But that's a great play initially, too, to secure the orbital strike for CC's Brimstone there. Like, you go ahead, you burn the orb, you swing 3 out to make sure you're not getting pushed, you secure that. Now you can kind of just play post plant, wait for everything, as we're going to see BPC using Thrash once again to clear out Hookah. However, nobody playing back there. Thrash is going to be taken out, and we're also going to get the orbital strike being used towards Hookah. Going to cause some damage. We're going to get the Seekers rolling out as well. This is going to be very hard for BPC to come in on. Nice Dizzy to kind of open up some space. We got everything and everyone being burned down right now. BPC actually cutting this down to a 2v2. Spike should theoretically be planted, but it's going to be, the rotate coming out right now, but the Cypher utility still available.
Oh my gosh, it might be a fake. They're rotated out towards A, but they're positioning themselves almost to kind of rotate back B. The only issue that I foresee is honestly, like, it's a mind game here, right? They could rotate B, or they could push through short. They're gonna push through short. Yeah, they're gonna push through short, it seems, because now there's no contact, there's no noise, so they're thinking they're walking. No, they TP back. I thought they were gonna big braid it and go towards A, but it seems like CC reads into it instead. They've rotated themselves off. Plant goes down safely with a couple of seconds left, but Caps isn't gonna stay alive here. Limp keeps them on the edge here. Orbital strike in hand. Just play further back here for BPC to lock it in, and I think CC knows this Viper. J-Man pushing in piece by piece here. He's just gonna play off that orbital strike. Limp has it. The tap comes out to bait it out. There's that orbital strike. The time is of the essence, ticking away as Limp is slowly pushing in here. J-Man's gonna go for it. Spam comes through and it finds Limp. I think they just have enough time to take us into overtime.
More than enough time. 4 whole seconds, almost 5. Oh my, J-Man plays that darn near perfectly. And CC gonna bring us to overtime here. 1 round on each side for the win. You gotta win them both or we go again. I am extremely excited to see what CC is going to do back on offense. Both teams only taking 3 rounds on offense here. 9-3 halves both ways. The curse is in fact real. It's available and it has shown itself once again.
That came down so close to the wire. Even I had a hard time reading where the spike was going. I was like, all right, you guys teleported. You're making no noise, no contact. You could plant A safely. You could rush plant A safe, or you could make no contact, have them either rotate off and risk them rotating to A, or rotate back towards B, which is what they did. But they decided to take teleporter, which, you know, hindsight's 2020, obviously. But at the same time, it's just such an interesting dichotomy.
Speaking of interesting, that swing right there is going to put J-Man and sit him exactly down. And now CC down a person. Going to go ahead and just use that spam. We're going to go ahead and get the satchel out. Nobody's going to be able to be here to follow, though. You're literally taking space. And Non is somehow still alive. I don't understand how somebody hasn't swung him yet. There's the opportunity. Non's going to make this even. It's now a 3v3. And now you heard the teleports as well. So it's going to clear out that space. Hookah is going to be claimed. Spike has not gone down yet. And Limp is in prime position to go ahead and hit this wrap. The timing just has to be right, though, as Spike finally starts dropping.
Oh, and CC, they just came, right? And they just had such a grueling time to mount themselves in this position from 9-3 all the way into overtime. I think the confidence is flowing through CC, especially for J-Man, for the previous players here. At this point, you got to be confident. The trades come out, but they're in BPC's favor. Kip's just gonna fall. The retake is there. The first round one for BPC.
It's a great job getting the plant down in the first place right there for CC, because that was a heavily contested site. They were able to throw it through, bring it back. Unfortunately, just not able to hold it there, and it all kind of fell on that linchpin, of course, which was Silly Shadow there in the corner. Getting peeked out first is really what opened up the potential for the retake to be successful. It's going to lead CC here to being down on the match point. BPC has the opportunity to finally take this and close out the series. They have to win here on offense, and it's been tough sledding ahead. You got to remember, CC, 9 of the last 10 rounds taken by them. They won their first gun round against the bonus, did not look back, minus 1 mistake.
Oh, man. And if they... Again, BPC here, they're on attack. They had a hard time finding it. They don't even have Spike, I think, dedicated even as well, right? So BPC's playing this very methodically, very planned out here. They're making noise towards B. They have 2 players postured towards TP, so if they need to, they can easily go back here. I love CC not flinching, not reading into it, still leaving the Sentinel Viper combo here towards the A site, ensuring that even if there is a rotate, they're still there.
Yeah, Dizzy going to be able to be reclaimed, though. This is going to be a full retake onto the A site. We're talking 5v5, every player alive. Silly Shadow looking to place out. They try to reclaim some of the space on this A site. Here's the initial shots. Going to be chipped through the box. Caps is going to be able to find the first one. Prey's going to have the answer. Make it 2. Prey is able to find as Limp takes down another. 3v3 currently as Prey finds a third. Truth's going to be able to take down Non coming out of the teleporter. Samo going to be able to take out Prey. Now a 1v2, and you're spotted with the neural theft. This is going to be massive. Samo, no utility to use either. No Dizzy, no Wingman, no nothing, but Kip still takes him down as Truth going to be able to get the grenade off. The paint shell is going to do some nice chip damage as Truth only down about 15 damage. Has to go back. Time starting to burn down. You don't really have the opportunity to do this. The spray not going to be able to be found, and this is basically going to be wraps right here for CC. The shorty is out, and BPC wins the hardest fought battle on Bind. 9-3 half, 9-3 half, finally able to break through on offense, and that is massive for BPC there. They win the series 2-0 in the battle of the undefeateds.
That was, you could tell it's the battle of the undefeateds, both teams firing up and getting heated against each other. It was such an interesting match to kind of just watch and pick and look at the minutia and the little details from the final round in the normal before overtime, right? The ultimate coming out, the timing of that ultimate, in what capacity, a lot to kind of talk and discuss and VOD review and break down. But I'm even more curious to kind of talk to these players and see what they have to say.
Oh, absolutely. I think the biggest thing here is we have to remind ourselves that both these teams, because the way ECAC is broken out into 4 groups of 8, both these teams are almost 100% certain to make playoffs. So this was really a seeding match. However, when you have teams like Fisher kind of lurking in the lower rungs, you have USF really starting to pick it up as well. Like, you do not want to be in one of these lower seeds, because Valorant can be random and sporadic at times, and sometimes some teams can just have a hard read on you. It makes it that much more difficult to be able to bring yourself out of that playoff bracket. So BPC being able to secure the 1 seed, I'm pretty sure here through this group play session, is going to be relatively large. Like you mentioned, though, we're going to have an interview with a player from BPC coming up right after this. We got to take our break, get them in here, get everything sorted, but stick around. You're not going to want to miss this. More Esports U coming up after the break. Hello and welcome back to Esports U. Of course, we just presented you a banger of an ECAC Valorant matchup in between two undefeated teams from Group 2. It's going to be Brewton-Parker overtaking Conestoga College 2-0. So, I mean, it was a very close matchup. 13-11, 14-12 were the two map scores, and these teams were previously undefeated. Nerds Corner. So it was just a crazy matchup in general, and I just think we're blessed to be able to talk to Truth today as well. Bring him on from the winning team of BPC. Truth, how are you doing today, brother?
Happy to be here, man. Having a great day.
That's what I like to hear. And a win always makes that easier, right? So it's not too much to worry about, especially against an undefeated team. Group 2 is looking to stack up to be pretty nice. Obviously, y'all taking the win over the Condors is pretty large. But overall, this group has been pretty solid with both of y'all being up top. Have y'all been planning for this matchup for a little bit longer, just knowing that you're probably going to run into them?
Just a lot of practice and stuff. I don't know if we like specifically targeted them to like practice, but we've been looking good. We feeling good, so we were ready for it one way or another, and it was a good fight.
It was a good fight. It looked really hectic out there. Something that I kind of wanted to note was during that 12th round near the very end, what was the emotional response to that when overtime hit? Like, how did you guys deal with that, and what were the calls made?
We definitely weren't planning on it going in overtime. We definitely wanted to end it there. A little bit unexpected going into OT, but we calmed down, we focused up, and we closed it out.
I can see that. The 14-12, you guys managed to reclaim some of that and just really work together. And something just to ask you, you're one of the duelists, or the main duelist for your team. How does that feel for you? Has like the pressure been really hard? Did you fit into the role well? Do you play that during ranks? Just a bunch of little snowball questions.
Yeah, ever since the game came out, beta, I've been playing duelist, so I feel very confident and comfortable in the role. Yeah,
Nice.
very, very confident. No problems, no nerves, so I don't feel this too much.
I can see.
It's been a while. I've been playing for a while. It didn't come instantly, but yeah.
For sure. I wanted to ask you one final question here, and it was kind of about the dichotomy of playstyle that we saw in between you two. Condors dominated First Bloods in this series. Y'all were consistently down 5-4 quite a bit, and I'm not trying to disparage you. You obviously came out with a victory, so something went right for you guys, but even looking at the first map, I believe it was like 16 overall to about like 7. So y'all were consistently playing down to men. How did y'all deal with that? What were the comms like? What were the vibes like to be able to overcome those deficits so often?
Our team does a really good job at focusing up when we throw like first man advantage. We're kind of used to that. Either I get like my 3 or they're left is 4, so they experience it like fairly often. But they're really good in those situations. They do a really good job calming and like making quick decisions.
Yeah, it seemed like y'all had a read for the majority of the game. So, I mean, especially with 4-tap just being able to do basically whatever you wanted the entire map. I'm sure that helped, especially on Split.
Oh yeah, 4-tapping loves finding his solo fights, doing his own thing. We send him in his own corner. He makes it happen. So
I've never seen so much success from putting somebody in timeout. Now you go to your corner, you stay there. All right, you stay there. But,
sometimes he wants it. He's like, guys, leave me alone. Nobody played near me. Let me do my own thing.
It's always great being able to have a Sentinel player like that you can trust to kind of anchor down the site and be able to get theirs though. And with that win, I'm going to send you off. I know we're in the thick of the semester right now, coming off of midterms not too long ago, so you're probably knee deep in studies as well. So I'm going to allow you to go ahead, get your shout outs off. Anybody you want to particularly shout out before we go ahead and end the stream up here tonight?
Yeah, for sure. Adam Stanley, our coach, Krimmer, and all our teammates work really hard. Thanks for the production team and casters and stuff as well. That's it.
Appreciate the love, brother. Hope you have a wonderful night. We certainly appreciate you taking the time to join us.
All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. That about wraps it up for us here. Blessed to have watched this matchup. I mean, literal 4-round difference in between the two maps. Just ridiculously close. So Nerds Corner, I'm going to go ahead. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and wrap up tonight?
I mean, the BPC undefeated still. Condors finally getting defeated. The story was unfortunate. I wanted to see a game 3 because I thought it would be like really hype, but near the end with overtime, BPC managing to slowly come back after the deficit, proved the 9-3 curse, I guess, wrong in this situation. It's a bit refreshing. It's a bit interesting to see, and I'm happy to see how they flourish through the rest of the season and through playoffs and whatnot.
And they've pretty much solidified their playoff spot here. Condor's pretty much 95% in as well. So both these teams just playing for that seeding like we mentioned. It's going to wrap it up here for Esports U tonight. However, tomorrow we have ECAC Rocket League and Overwatch. And following that, we're going to take you out to the west side. We got Mountain West Valorant going to be following both of those. So a star-studded day going to be out here on Esports U tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss it. But for myself and Nerds Corner, we hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you tomorrow.